Good afternoon. Welcome to the Vision Driven Family Institute, where dreams are welcome and family visions come true. My name is Philip Porter. I am a family leadership coach with the Vision Driven Family Institute, which is a division of Generations Empowerment Enterprises. And we're excited and happy to bring you another great training session on today. Our topic, if you've been following us this week, our topic for this week is how to introduce your family vision into your family reunion or a family holiday event. We get this question over and over. How do I launch it? How do I start introducing it to my own family? And what we're going to do today is take a few minutes just to share how we actually did it step by step. And it was kind of interesting when I was preparing for this. We actually started and did it back in 2012 was our first family vision event with our family. So we're going to share with you what we did in regards to that. I'd like to start the training session always with a quote and a little excerpt from our book, which is everything we talk about the Vision Institute. At least today is going to be in our book, The Power in a Vision-Driven Family Workbook. Okay, so we're going to be sharing, in this case, I'm actually going to share just a couple paragraphs from chapter 17, Educational Empowerment. Chapter 17, Educational Empowerment. And the quote that we have here says that education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. And that's by George Washington Carver. And the first paragraph in our chapter says, education is a key component to achieving your family vision. On your family vision journey, you will encounter many obstacles that you are not qualified to overcome. Knowledge will help many of these barriers to be crossed with minor effort. The answer to surviving the family vision journey is that each family member must continue to educate themselves by attending college, university, workshops, webinars, seminars, online live streaming like you are today. Additionally, establishing positive relationships with successful mentors, advisors, educators, and life coaches to increase the overall knowledge of the individual and thus the entire family. So this is a quote from our book, chapter 17, and in our book, The Power in a Vision-Driven Family Workbook. So now we're going to jump right in to our topic for the week, which is, well, how do I actually introduce our family vision into our family reunion, our family holiday event? Which if it was like ours, is something new, something that we've never ever done before. So the question is, how do we actually go about it? Keep in mind that what I'm sharing with you guys is what we did. There's no one specific way. When we did it, we didn't have a template, but we can know that what we're going to share with you actually worked for us. So if it worked for us, it possibly can work for you as well, or you can take the time and plan your own way of actually introducing it to your family. Okay. Secondly, if any family members of our family that's on this live streaming today, if they want to chime in or have anything they would like to say, please do, because this was back in 2012. So just trying to remember some of the things that we actually did. Also, on the second half of today, we will have our guest back, Philip Wells, who's one of the board members of our company and of our family. And we're going to talk about kind of the part two of our event and how we actually introduced our family vision to our family. Okay. So what I did was I actually outlined 10 steps that we went through to introduce our family vision to our family. So we're going to just share with those steps. And if you have any questions anytime, feel free to contact us. We're happy to help you if we possibly can. Okay, let me start by saying we actually introduced our family vision not at a family reunion, but we actually introduced it at a holiday celebration event that we normally do every year. And it's actually during the Christmas holiday season, which is when we actually did it back in 2012. So the various steps that we took, we kind of broke it up in two parts. One is what I call a pre-holiday celebration planning session. We actually have to plan for how we're going to actually introduce it. And then I'm going to tell you what we actually did at the family holiday Christmas party to introduce the family vision. Okay. The first step number one, we recommend that you first must decide which family vision type you are planning to implement. And if you attended our workshops, you know there's 5 different types of family visions. So you first must understand and know which ones you plan to implement. So it's a big difference between a nuclear family vision and a immediate family vision, or a extended family vision, or a single family vision. So once you identify that, then you can start making preparations. How do I actually implement that? Because each of them was going to be a little bit differently because of the players, because of the people involved. So step number 1, decide which type of family vision you're planning to implement. So that's number 1. Okay. Step number 2 is decide when you're actually going to implement your family vision. When are you actually going to do it? What family gathering? Is it going to be at a family reunion? Is it going to be at a family holiday party or celebration? Is it going to be at a family member's birthday event? Make that decision as well. Like I said, in our case, we was launching a immediate family vision, and we was going to do it on Christmas season back in 2012. Okay, so once you decide which type of family vision you have, and number 2, once you decide when and at what family event that you're going to do this at, step number 3 is, in our case, our step number 3 was, because it was an immediate family vision that we is going to be launching. And those of you who know and been through our workshop, and I think maybe on a previous live streaming, an immediate family vision basically means people in the immediate family, that the brothers and sisters, maybe the mom and dad, and their kids, grandkids if it's involved, and so forth. So in our case, what we did was the generation 2, what we call G2s, we actually had a planning session on how we was actually going to introduce it and to get us all on the same page to begin with. Okay, so that was a very critical component. So whoever the leaders are in the family, make sure that they're aware of what you're planning to do and make them a part of the process. If you are a family visionary yourself and you are the primary person, it may be a committee of 1 or could be a committee of 10. So it just depends. So that's step number 3, is the leaders that's involved in this event, make sure they're aware of what's going on and get their approval. Okay. Step number 4 is where. Where is the event going to be held? In our case, we actually was having 2 Christmas parties in 2 different locations. We was having a family Christmas party in Minnesota, and we was having a family New Year's Christmas party in Tylertown, Mississippi. And both of this was happening back in 2012. So we had to figure out the logistics on how we wanted to do that, and we wanted to do it in a relatively close, so as family members talk, everybody's on the same page. So that was number 4 in our case, was where, and which we had was actually 2, one in Minnesota and one in Tylertown, Mississippi. Once we had the pre-planning situation all taken care of, the next was the actual event itself. You know, we had the normal standard family holiday party with all the food, with all the presents, with the various things there. So it was a very good time with that. But what we did, we actually introduced family vision time, and we actually called it a family vision dream session. So we was introducing the family vision without actually a lot of family members knowing we was introducing the family vision. So we set it up in a very fun way to get some feedback and to get them their input and starting to buy in on the family vision without them knowing that they were buying into a family vision. So what we did is our dream session, similar to the ones we do in the workshop, and our dream session was centered around the family vision, which in our case was to purchase additional land, was to purchase land in order to achieve our family vision. So the dream session actually consisted of one question, so we kept it simple. And the question was that we had during this short meeting that we had with the family was, if you was blessed with all the money in the world, how much land would you buy? So very simple. The purpose was just to get the conversations and the brainstorming sessions actually going. In Minnesota, we did do it a little bit differently here in Minnesota, because in Minnesota, which was actually our Christmas family meeting. Let me back up here. Our Christmas family meeting was actually on Christmas Day in 2012. And we had a lot of family members who actually came to that event, a lot of millennials to a lot of older ones and so forth. So when we got to this stage, what we call our dream session with the family, we actually broke up in two groups. And I can't remember when we had our dream session. I know we broke it up in two groups, but I think it was the millennials that recommended the two groups. So we had one group, I think it was either all family members under 30 or under 35 went to one room to answer this question, and then the older ones had their own session. So that was interesting. That was interesting as well. So each group, the millennials and then the older group, had their own session. We was all answering this question: how much land would we buy if we had enough money to buy whatever amount that we wanted to buy? So we actually used that. Each section we had post-it notes. We actually posted up on the board, and we all came back together. The millennials shared their information, and we shared ours, and it was actually a very, very fun time. Now we actually look forward to doing that more in the future. We've done it a few times since 2012. Okay, so that was what we call part one of introducing our family vision to the group in Minnesota. So now I want to welcome Philip Wells, one of our board members, and he was part of the process when we actually did this same event down in Tylertown, Mississippi, with a much larger group down in Mississippi than it was in Minnesota. But all family members, I think 3 or 4 generations was down there. So it was a nice, fun time, fun group. But I think it was the first time we've actually did anything like this. Yes. So let me have Mr. Philip Wells share with you what we did, maybe what he got out of it, and how we introduced it down in Tylertown, Mississippi, with our family members down there.
First of all, let me say one thing. Like, when you introduce something to your family, just remember, you're introducing it to your family. So your family is going to have all different kinds of, they're going to have, their anxiety is going to be up because they're going to be, saying, well, what is this and what is that? The fear of the unknown for your family is what it's all going to be about. That's it. It's just the fear of the unknown. They don't know what you're getting ready to say. They don't know how you're getting ready to say it. All they know is you got them all together and you're getting ready to say something. And most of the time when people get everybody together and they're getting ready to say something, they think it's some bad news. So the one thing you have to realize is this right here, that when you get everybody together, you need to get them together and let them know that it's not bad news, that just be present. You need to be present, because the people that are present, once you give the information out, then their feedback is very important, because then you get a real cross section of your entire family on how things are going to go and how people feel about what you're introducing to them. You see, because once that fear of the unknown is over, now everything is relaxed. Now you can actually get the information out there. Your family members will start to be engaged. Because when they introduced it to us in Mississippi, a lot of people didn't even know what was going to be introduced, but they were present. And once we posed the question, which they posed the exact same question to us down there, kind of a little bit differently as they did up here, but we got a little bit different reaction.
Right.
Because of the expectations and the mentality of the people that you're talking to. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you combine two families, now you're talking about two different families. Actually, three. It was three different families. And you got three different families, and you got a whole lot of individuals present, and you're going to get a whole different variety of answers. Now, the answers we got in Mississippi, when we start to put them on the board, you know, people they just begin to really dream. Some of them put their number up there, and then they changed it because they thought about it, and it was like, you know, my resources are unlimited. So now I can actually dream big.
That's right.
But at first, the only thing you go on is the mentality of where you are. So you start thinking, you know, I'm gonna put this on the board, but you know, now that I know that my resources are different, now I got to change it because now I know that I can dream bigger now. And dreaming big is what the vision is all about. You know, you can't, if a vision is going to go from now into the future.
That's right.
It can't be small. It just can't be small. Your vision is not going to be small. Even if you want it to be small, it's going to get bigger.
That's right.
I'm telling you, as family members begin to come into the vision and begin to realize that the vision is part of them and they are part of the vision, then the vision gets bigger. Every family member that come in, then that means the vision is one more family member bigger and one more family member bigger and one more family member bigger. So you have to realize that even if you start just a personal vision, just you and maybe one more person, maybe it could be a husband and a wife, or maybe it could be a father and a son. Well, think about this. When that son has a child, now the vision just got one more person bigger.
That's right.
When that son gets married, now it just got three more people bigger if they have another child. You see, the vision is going to always grow, even though you want it to be small. Because we always think, well, if we have something that we can control, it's smaller, we can do better, we can make it. No, that's not what the vision is all. The vision is about growing. That's what it's about. Right. It's about continuing to grow. As your family continues to grow, your vision continues to grow. And you have to understand this right here. When you introduce it to your family, just remember, it's just like anything else. If it's a business plan, if it's a project, everybody is not going to agree at first.
Right. You say that a dozen times.
So don't worry if people don't just come on board at first.
That's right. Because
we all know how family members are. Everybody's not going to be on board the first day. So you're just going to have to keep working at it. You're going to have to introduce it. Then you're going to have to start letting it work. Then you're going to have to get people involved. And what you did, just remember this. Every family member has a part to play in the vision.
That's right.
No matter where you think they are in their life, everyone has a part to play in the vision. And the key part for us, when Philip brought it down to introduce it to us in Mississippi, the key part was we had a G1 that had to agree that everything come together.
That's right.
And that when Philip told the G1 about, one of our main parts of our vision was purchasing land, then he began to tell us a story.
That's right.
Amazing. And that was amazing.
Yeah.
Because we never knew that part of the family. And when he said, that right there just sealed the deal. He was all in. He was the patriarch of the whole family, of the other side of the family.
That's right.
So remember now, he's the leader of the whole side of the other family. He bought in. And once he bought in, it seems like everybody else just kind of just fell in line because he was the person that everybody probably thought wasn't going to buy it. But he was the number one person.
He wasn't sure.
He wasn't sure at first until we mentioned the land part. And then he began to tell us a story about land and things like that. And it kind of helped things out, because that tells you right there that everybody plays a part, even though his part was short-lived, but it was the key part. It was the number one part, because if he didn't agree, then we don't merge as families, because that was the key.
That's
and
right.
At the time, we really didn't know that, because that was a part that we didn't know, as you know, that right there wasn't for us to know, really. But he was a key factor. And then coming down there, introducing it to the entire family. See, like down there, we didn't break off into groups.
That's right.
We stayed into one big group. We had G3, G2s, G3s, G1s, G4s. Everybody was in there.
Yeah.
So everybody gave their opinion, and that was a good thing.
That's right. No criticism.
There was no criticism.
That's right. That's a rule.
There was a rule.
Yes.
There's no criticism. When you introduce this, you have to let everybody know that there's no criticizing when I'm introducing this to my family. It's all about what you think, how you feel, where do you want your family to grow? You know, it's all about that. Has nothing to do with competition, nothing like that. It's all about the family, just the family. And if we start a vision, which once you introduce it, the vision starts itself, because somebody there is going to catch hold to it and they're going to run with it. Whether you, the person that introduces it, give up on it or not, somebody there is going to run with it. So the vision is going to go once you introduce it. And once you write it down and put it on paper and begin to plan, it's over with. There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to start, and it has our vision right now. If I look back from 2012 to, I wouldn't have never thought that we would, and we're not nowhere near as far along as we want to be. But I would have never thought we would be this far, this time, in a 5-year span, 7-year span.
But you had to start.
But you had to start.
You didn't have to be perfect.
No.
Or anything like that. What we're saying is, this is what we did, but we had to start. We had to introduce it.
Yes.
Everybody, like I said, didn't necessarily have to buy in, but you're not expecting everybody to buy in.
No.
So that's A-okay.
Yes, it is.
That's A-okay.
Yes, it is.
So, a couple of tips that I recommend when people's actually doing this. If you take about what we did, we kept it all a fun situation, because like I said, you're going to have all generations a part of this. So one of the things we wanted to do, we wanted to keep it fun. We wanted to keep it short.
Yes.
Okay. So that was some of the goals that we actually wanted to achieve. We wanted to get everybody's input, right? With no criticism. And like I said, just a few of the leaders actually knew what was actually going on at the time. So we had to have a few of the key leaders, in our case, had to play an important role in that process.
Yes.
Okay. And the key thing for us, the reason why we're able to share this with you, is we actually wrote up this as a report after the event. See, that's the other part of it. Once you have your event, it's going to, the turnout be good. If it was like ours, was better than we had planned.
Yes.
But then we actually wrote it up. We actually wrote up who all was attended. Okay. Now, the one thing, we didn't do when I grabbed the report, we didn't write all the people like the G4s that was there.
Right.
Which we should have. Even though they might have been 4, they might have been 5, they might have been. We sharing with you guys, whoever was there, regardless of their age.
Yes.
Okay, because you never know how that might impact them 10 or 15 years later. They might say, I was 5 and I was at that event.
And the one thing about it, once you start your vision, remember, every time you get together, no matter what, whoever's present, I don't care if it's a baby, a child, I don't care if they're 1 month old, 1 week old, everybody's name needs to be on there, because that starts the history of your family. It gives you a history of how your family is moving along. Who was there? Who was present? How old were they at the time? You see, all of that is part of your vision. All of that is part of, when you look back on it, when people look back on when you started this vision 100 years from now they have a record of who was there, why they were there, who was there with them, were a family member. That's how you begin to keep track of your family. You begin to keep track of the movement of your family, how your family's moving, where they are, how they, where are they migrating to, who was at this meeting in St. Louis, who was at this meeting in Mississippi, who was at this meeting in Minnesota, all of that, it all counts.
It all counts. Okay.
Yes.
So that's what we wanted to share with you was, because we do get this question all the time, well, how do I introduce a vision to my family? Okay, and one of the things we like to share with you is do it when people are getting together.
Yes.
Whether it's at a family reunion, whether it's at a birthday, whether it's at a holiday celebration like we did in our case, and you just don't do it one time. Like Will said, you have to do it again over and over, because some that's going to be involved the first time, you're going to get a little bit more the next time, and so forth. But our key is you have to start and keep in mind, our families had been doing this over 40 years. We were just bringing in a second, merging with another family.
Yes.
So it was very important to get everyone on the same page in a fun way.
Yes.
So it was pretty exciting.
And it was amazing.
So any last words or tips you want to share with everybody?
No.
Mr. Wells? Okay. All right. So hopefully that helped you and educate you, which is part of what the Vision Driven Family Institute does. And we're hoping that the information that we share, the knowledge that we share, and the tools that we have will be beneficial to you and your family. You can always visit our website at visiondrivenfamily.com. We actually got a Facebook page as well. So all of this is resources that will hopefully would help your family. We also have the books as well that you can actually purchase. But if anybody have any questions about a family vision and how to actually incorporate it within their family and launch it, feel free to contact us anytime. We can just share you with what we've done in regards to that. One last thing as we close, one last quote that I have, and it's actually in our book, The Power in the Family, Power in the Vision Driven Family. And those who actually have that book, it's actually going to be in page 12, and it's a quote from Robert F. Kennedy. And the quote says, "There are those that look at things the way they are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not." Okay? So this is Philip Porter, your family leadership coach, and also Mr. Philip Wells, both coming from the Vision Driven Family Institute, which is a division of the Generations Empowerment Enterprises. And we always say at the Vision Driven Family Institute, where dreams are welcome and family visions come true. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.